Hello and welcome back to Galgorm Hall for this March update. It's a little earlier than usual, but that's only because I've been recording a few videos as I've gone along this month, and combined it sort of brings it up to around the 15-20 minute mark. Don't want to bore you for too much longer than that, so I thought we would just put this up now. As you can hear, the trains are still running. We're still testing the track, particularly around the mainline station area. The branch line has been completed, and that's the first area that we're going to look at in terms of the scenics. A little bit at the beginning of this video will show you what my ideas are for that. I've also been looking at the track ballasting, and I would like your feedback on that, and you'll see that later in the video as to what I'm looking for there in terms of what I should maybe paint the rail sides. So sit back. If you have any comments, please do feel free to add them at the bottom. I'd also just like to say a big thank you to all the new subscribers that have come on board. I've just passed the 200 mark, which is fantastic. Some of that in the last couple of weeks has come down to following a couple of live streams, DJ Railways and Barnabas Junction in particular. And through that there's a number of new subscribers have come on board, as well as some others off their own back too. So really appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy what you see. So chat soon. Bye. I'm just working here on the final few pieces of track for the branch line. I've got as far as bringing the track down through the incline, through that sweeping curve, comes underneath a bridge here. It won't be this one here. I'll probably scratch build something. I'm really just using that as a marker for clearances for the trains. Comes into the station area through this this point, splits off into two tracks, so a run round. We'll have the platform on the right hand side with the station, joins again at another set of points, and then through underneath the main line again and out that little portal. Beyond that is a void, but what I tend to do is put another sheet of 4x2 baseboard in there, and we will have a small fiddle yard. I could probably fit 6 or 8 roads in there. I don't know if I'll need as many as that. But it'll be enough to serve for parking up the DMUs, a couple of coaches, that sort of thing, so that they're off the layout and not everything's having to find a home somewhere on it. It's a project for another day. I really can't be bothered looking at that right now. Priority is really just to get the main stuff done so that I can start looking at the more interesting side of the building of the railway. Coming back to the station. It's a small station. It's going to serve maybe a 2 or 3 car DMU and a 2 or 3 coach train. And I also want to have a small goods sidings. So I have 2 tracks, 2 roads. The first will be alongside the platform, and that'll serve a couple of vans for unloading or loading of goods to take to the bigger station round the corner. And the other one, well, I'm still undecided in that. I don't have an awful lot of space here. The slope of the incline is going to come down, which is going to encroach into any space that I have. I'm sort of in two minds. Do I put in a goods shed so that lorries can pull up and unload, or do I just sort of make it an open thing? Coal staves would be nice here just to drop off. I mean, I'm sort of thinking that we're in the last days of, you know, the railways really providing goods to the countryside, but I still want to capture that. So I still want to be able to capture the fact that wagons are brought in, coal's brought in, and it's all taken from there and spread out through the community. So I want to show it. So I would like to have the coal staves. I would like to have a goods shed. Do I need a goods shed though if I have the goods being loaded onto the platform. I don't know. I've had a wee look around online to see what's about on there. Just sort of to give me some ideas. I've seen a couple of nice wee sort of branch line layouts that are doing something, you know, have something similar in terms of the way the track formation is here. One has good shed, the other one doesn't, so I'm not 100% sure. It's all sort of musings at the minute, and just thought I'd put it out here and show you what I've been thinking before I sort of crack on and do a little bit more. So I'll go away, have a wee think about it, and I'll come back to you, and maybe by then I'll have a decision made. Okay, see you soon. Okay, decided to stick with that formation that sort of left you with just previously on the first part of the video, and I think it looks okay. As you can see there is some paper down now just to give an idea as to what this area is probably going to look like. I'll talk through that in a wee minute. The retaining wall at the back came off the old layout, so it was just sort of give an idea as to what sort of height we can work with. I still want to implement some sort of embankment coming down from the main line before that retaining wall comes into effect, and I think sort of, you know, just in around that area there, that just might be the perfect height for it. My thinking is that the main line came along at a later date. The branch line was the only line that was served in this area. The main line came afterwards and sort of encroached into that ground that the branch line was on, hence its proximity to each other. So what am I thinking? Down this end where the DMU is sitting at the minute, I think there'll be a little road that will run across the track there, with a signal box marked by that piece of paper on the left hand side. The road, you can just maybe about see the pencil lines there, will sort of sweep round and take a tunnel or a bridge underneath the main line. That'll enter into the yard area for the station. The station platform might move across, you know, a little bit further down along onto that point, but I don't know if anything, it's just going to be that sort of slope down section at the end of the platform. And then we're into the goods sidings. As you can see with the goods sidings, the larger square near the little lorry there is marked as a goods shed. It would mean that the loading of any vehicles coming through will have to be done in that little gap between goods shed and wall, but you know, it's a branch line. It's not going to be a busy area, so I think we can get away with that. And then beside that we would have some coal stays. I've also down at this end put another sheet of paper to mark out what might be the station master's house. This is quite a big blank area, and I don't know whether I want to just do it as all scenics, just sort of embankment and grass area, or whether I want to sort of incorporate, maybe I like the idea of a station master's house with maybe a little bit of a manicured back garden there, you know, just sort of backing on then to the fields behind it, but we'll see. So this is the area I'm going to work on first. I'm still testing trains across the points and everything on the far side of the layout, and everything's going okay there. Okay so far. The double slip's given a few issues, more so with my my Jubilee loco. All the diesels work fine on it, crossover fine at slow speed, and even at high speed, you know, sort of running right through. It's the Jubilee that seems to stall in certain areas. Any sort of feedback I'm getting on forums online, I think it's more a case of the loco rather than the points itself. So something I'm going to have to look at. Knowledge wise on logos is very limited though, so we'll put that in the back burner for now, I think. But as I say, I want to start in this area, So the first thing I want to do is look at ballasting the track. Well, actually I'll need to do the platform before I can ballast in here, but all this track up in the top can be ballasted. It can be painted. The sides of the rails have been painted, and that's just what I want to show you next, and hopefully get some feedback from you as well. So I'll be back just in a wee minute here. Okay, so we've got two wee pieces of track here that I have painted the sides of the rails and ballasted, just to get an idea as to what I would like things to look like on the actual layout. And rather than going on ahead doing something on the actual laid track and finding don't like that, and having to either lift it, replace it, or try and remove the ballast and do it all again, I thought I would try with this first. So what have I done? I have painted the rails in 4 different colours, and we'll go through those in a wee second, and then it's then been ballasted using the Javis fine ballast. It's the FX SGT, I think is the code for it. It's the one I like. I like the tone that it leaves afterwards. It's sort of it's a mix of colours in there. It's quite grey, it's quite dirty as it is, without having to do too much weathering to it afterwards. I will still, I think, weather to a certain degree, but I just like the finish that it gives. So yeah, what I also did was, on the track at the rear, I weathered the sleepers before I did any ballasting, just to see what would happen with it. And as you can see in the top left hand corner are the 4 colours that I used. So it was Revel 84, 87, 82 and 45, and that was the finish that it gave. Now, and if you compare that then to the one beneath, you know, I'm thinking, I don't think there's much point in weathering the track prior to it. There's a certain amount of dust in that seems to come off that Javis scatter, and it just is enough just to tone down those sleepers from that sort of stark plasticky black. So at least that maybe saves me a little bit of time. But then onto the rail sides. Now I wonder if we can see this in the light that we have up here. If we'll tilt it up a wee bit just to help. Of course it's not going to be tilted in, whenever we're doing it, and perhaps that's the better way to show it, but I just want to get a better indication as to colours that I went with. Now in the front 2 rails, were done in acrylics. The one at the front is cinnamon brown, and the one behind that was a transparent red, transparent red oxide, I think was the name of it. Now the only downside of these was that they required 2 coats to get a full covering. The first one just wasn't strong enough, and I also found whenever I was sort of cleaning back the rails that there was the odd wee bit chipped off it. But both colours that I quite liked. And then go to the rear ones. We have on the front rail is Revel's leather brown, and on the back rail is Revel, I think 83. I think it's rust. Is their reference for it? So again, the light's not brilliant. Let's tilt this up a wee bit more. So there's not a massive difference between the 4 of them, and really I can't decide which one to go for myself. I was sort of put off a little bit by the rust one, because I think it's just it's too the tone just doesn't seem right. The leather brown seems wrong to me in my head just because it's brown, but at the same time, if you look at the real thing, they tend to be maybe a bit more of a browny tint to them anyway, certainly whenever all the dirt and that gathers up on them. The front 2, I think of the 2 at the front, it's probably the cinnamon brown that I like the best. But again, you know, it's all much of a muchness. Look, tell me what you think, if you don't mind. Post it in the comments below, or tick the wee thing at the top of the screen there, just and give me your feedback, because it's really appreciated. I haven't decided what I want to do yet, but we're going to have to do something, so we are. So if you could do that for me, I would really appreciate it.